In your journey working with lawyers, you highlighted some of the challenges that the industry faces from a mental health side of things, which causes all kinds of issues, which are real and true. Those are typically happening because of burnout, because of stress. When you're working with law firm owners, you probably are seeing that many of them are making it harder on themselves than they need to. Right? They struggle with, I struggle with getting clients, or I struggle with keeping clients, or I struggle with getting my name out there. When you're looking at law firms and what the root cause of these issues are, what do you think is the biggest glaring problem that's solvable that we can actually fix?
From a
Is
mental health standpoint?
well, I'm making the connection or the assumption that the mental health issue is being caused by stress and burnout in the workplace. Really, when we come down to mental health, it's what's the business problem that we need to solve.
So there's been some different research done out there, ABA's published studies and whatnot. No one has a clear, like, here's where all the stress comes from. I think there's some interesting theories from different researchers that suggest even, and this is, I believe ABA put these out, around how the fact that like what your job as an attorney, what makes a great attorney often leaves you a little more alone in your profession and whatnot. I certainly don't want to ascribe where it comes from, but I do think this space has a lot of challenges, and especially for the contingency lawyers, there's that constant stress of like, one, you're having to upfront everything to get somebody and then do all the work. And what if it doesn't pan out? I think the biggest frustrations I've heard from lawyers around the country is just the fact that like what works for one person may not work for the next 20. And so you go to these conferences and lawyers talk about you need to be doing TikTok, or you need to be doing TV, or you need to be doing social, or you need to be whatever it is, there's this constant, hey, you need to be doing this. And then the frustrating part is they're like, okay, great. Let me go back to my business. Let me implement these strategies, and then it busts. And I certainly don't want to be tying this to people's mental health outcomes, but from a frustration in the industry, there's so much like I've had so many lawyers because they'll hire, like I'll say, hey, you know what? I've had multiple clients use this vendor. They've had a great experience. And then several people will use them and not have a great experience. And there's so many reasons that can be. So many reasons. Sometimes it's literally just the strategy. You can replicate the exact same marketing. It doesn't necessarily work. When you go to these conferences, everybody's telling you what worked for them. But by the time you implement it, it might not work for you, or it might not work for your brand or your market or your personality. And so, and this is just like going back to Michael Gerber's E-Myth, like the entrepreneurial frustration of like, most of these people signed up to be a lawyer. They didn't sign up to run a business. And then as part of that, running a business is doing marketing and making all these decisions. And they have no training, no genuine expertise. And I think there's some lawyers who really study this, and I would say they do. But I think there's a lot of these lawyers are suddenly found like they're having to manage budgets with vendors and hold them accountable. But like, then what they really want to be doing is they want to be in the courtroom, or they want to be like hunting down, like, how are they going to get this next thing done? And so I think that's just a huge frustration in the space. And whenever people are like, what do I do? And they ask me, I'm like, I don't have an answer for you, other than I really encourage lawyers to make sure that however they're going to market themselves, do it in a way that at least feels good to you. If it doesn't feel good to you and it doesn't work, it's just frustrating. It's just like, man, I wasted my money. But at least if you like the marketing approach and it doesn't work, you're like, at least I stayed true to like how I want to run my business, my own values, because everything's not going to work. That's just a challenge I've heard. And as a marketer, it's frustrating too. And I'll have like great case studies and we'll do really great work. And then, a firm will come out, bring me in, and then it doesn't pan out. And it's just a frustrating state to be in. As a marketer, it's frustrating for the lawyer. The fact that what we hear about at these events is everybody's great case studies, everybody what worked. We don't hear about the next dozen people who did the same thing and it didn't work. And so it kind of just feels like everybody's marketing is going great, but mine, when it's not. That's a common theme I've seen and heard.